All right, a sincere Happy New Year to everyone. Really looking forward to 2017. And here goes the first watch list video for the year. And I always start with the SPY. Kind of pierce down through the 20-day on Friday. And a little bit of a bottoming tail, but I don't give a lot of. I mean, you can see the volume last day of the year. Who knows what kind of rebalancing, portfolio switching around, and all that's going on. I don't know. Again, I'm entering the new year owning zero stocks, and after the first trading day Tuesday, I'll own zero stocks. I'm a day trader. I look for stuff that can make me money on any given day and then go back to cash before the close. To me, I sleep better that way, and since I have the ability to log in every day and trade, there's no reason for me to hold overnight. So here is my list for the first trading day of the new year. I'm going to start with SGY, which has been on watch for several days. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. After this big 4-day run, right, it just kept getting lower highs. Maybe found support now. You had an inside day on Friday. We'll see. It's still on bounce watch. I haven't had a trade in it since I put it on watch 3 sessions ago, right? I'm just looking for a proper intraday setup. If I get one, hopefully I'll catch a trade. FBIO. This one gapped up on news on Thursday and then also sold off a bit, but found some support, on Friday. So a little bit of a tail there. I think it's worth watching for a bounce. I would point like to CNAT, CNAT. Remember what it did, right? It gapped up 3 days lower and then ripped. So, and it doesn't mean that FBIO is going to do the same thing. I'm just showing you an example of a gap up. Sellers came in, and then all of a sudden, it took off. So it is worth watching. It's a lower float stock. IMGN. Traded this once on Friday, made a few bucks. It had a nice pop on big volume. It's holding over that $2 area. This one might have a continuation day on Tuesday. Remember, Monday the market's closed. Actually, I'm making this video on Monday. So this one's worth watching for a follow-through day. KOOL had that huge move on Thursday and then kind of a quiet inside day on Friday. Sometimes the third day gets going. If you want to look back here on this big pop, it was down 2 days before a nice bounce. After this big pop, 2 days before a green day, and then a gap up. So I'm always trying to look and see its history and see what it's done. Back here, big pop, and so on. It took about a week before it finally bounced. So anything can happen. And this may never bounce again. We don't know, right? So we just never blindly take something. I never want to end up stuck in something and hoping it bounces back, right? So I build my list of stocks that are kind of in play recently, and then I look for intraday setups. Otherwise, I don't get this. It keeps me from getting stuck in anything ever, right? Weight Watchers goes back on watch, had the gap up, WTW, and popped, and then closed near its lows, and then had a nice day the next day, and now we're down like 4 days lower. I talked about it being at the bottom of a range. A lot of times that happens. A stock gaps up and then goes into a range, and it's still within the range of the day that it gapped up, right? But you can see when it got near the bottom of the range on Friday, and also in that area between the 8 and 20-day moving averages, which we call the buy zone on a strong stock, in our chat room, it found support, right, and ended up closing, fairly close to its highs, well, at least in the upper range of its trading on Friday. So I still think that one might start to head back up to that 1250 area, and I'd love to see a breakout through that one of these days too. But anyway, it lands back on our watch list. VKTX, not that excited about this one, but it's still, I just stumbled upon it looking at charts today, right? And this thing almost never pops, but it did have a big pop here, even though it gave back most of it. Couple decent sized days here and here, and since then it's really done nothing. It gapped up here and sold off to its lows, but it does have nice support at $1, and then on Friday kind of broke to the upside quietly, but a little bit of extra volume, and you can kind of picture a flag there. Now I draw a line from here to here to here, so this one might be turning the corner. I don't know. Well, it's going to go on watch, but it's certainly not my favorite. MBRX had the biggest volume day ever, 4 sessions ago on December 27th, and it went from a low of 193 to a high of 360 that day. So now you've got a couple lower highs, found support at the 20-day, super narrow range. Of course, volume was really dead. It was Friday before a 3-day weekend. This one's worth watching if it can hold this support area. we might get a secondary pop in MBRX. KDMN. Not a lot of history to go on, but let's see. Back here, you had a nice pop, and then a nice pop here, and it's really holding up pretty well. It found support, the $5 area. You've got a high after this big pop here, then a lower high, and a nice close near its highs on Friday. So you kind of have a flag here, right? I probably should have drawn the lines before I made the video, but I didn't. Anyway, you got a nice flag here. If this can get up over maybe the 550, 555 area, this one might head back up and retest these recent highs. And again, not a lot of chart history to go on, so it's interesting. It's a handsome setup. We'll see, right? Only with a proper intraday setup. CYCC ended up closing at its highs on Friday. You had the big pop here. Sellers came in up here, and it looked like it was going to roll over, but then a strong close on Friday puts this right back on my radar. This thing can make nice moves, so definitely want to watch CYCC. VRX, I'll have to zoom in a little bit. This is one beaten up stock. I don't know how much truth there is to, tax loss selling being over and all of that, but this one might meet those parameters. It is so beaten up. Let me just pan out in case you're not familiar with VRX. You can see back here it was $260 and it's just fallen off a cliff. And now definitely seems to have found support at the $14 area, and on Friday kind of peaked up above a few days worth of trading on a little bit of extra volume. So maybe there's a follow-through day on this. And again, maybe there's some truth to tax loss selling being over. Maybe this was the all-time low right here, and it could be up from here. Again, I'm an intraday trader, so I don't care that much about the longer-term chart, but it's also nice to know the story and what might move a stock on any given day, right? And lastly, I have IMMY, which had some insider buying news, I think back here, which got this volume going. Had a really nice move from $1.60 all the way up through 3, and then a few days lower, right at that buy zone we talked about between the 8 and the 20, and a nice strong close on Friday. So I'm looking for this bounce to potentially continue. As a group in the chat room, we will work together on Tuesday morning and build a list of potential gap and go plays, as well as this list I just showed you. Hopefully I can get my daily goal in the bank before noon on Tuesday, and enjoy the rest of my day. I really focus all my efforts on that first couple hours of trading each day, and I highly recommend if you're interested in being a day trader, not a swing trader, I highly recommend giving all of your efforts to that first couple hours each session. And a side benefit to that, if you can get your daily goal in the first couple hours, you have more of a personal life after that, right? You get to go out and do stuff. You get to go out and spend some of that money the rest of the day. So, all right, I'm done babbling. Happy New Year again, and we'll see everybody on Tuesday.